The short clip of the interview I did with Dr. Meryl Nass that you're about to see is only available in its full version on my other platforms. And that's because Dr. Nass had her license suspended for misinformation and prescribing medications for COVID that are anathema to the medical establishment. So anathema, I can't even say the names of the prescriptions here on YouTube. She is also being forced to undergo a psychiatric evaluation. So if you want to see everything that she had to say, you're going to have to go to one of my other platforms. The links are in the description. Let's talk about the psychiatric evaluation. You got sick, so it has been delayed because originally it said you were supposed to schedule by February 1st. What are they looking for, Dr. Nass? Are they going to be interested in knowing whether you're schizophrenic, or, I mean, like what exactly? You're a doctor, so like, let's say we're not talking about you. What are they wanting to find out? What are they going to ask you about? What I guess, what's the end game there?
As I said, I think they definitely wanted to order the neuropsych evaluation because that enabled them to do other things. And like put the records in the public domain, and send my name to the National Practitioner Data Bank. I'm not sure that the members of the board or their legal staff thought this through very clearly. I'm also not sure if this originated in Maine, or this was, came from a national attempt to make an example of me. And I say that because there was a lot of media the day I lost my license, which was January 12th. There was national media about my case, and I don't think the Maine board is capable of, having publicists have articles in the Miami Herald and the San Francisco Chronicle and the Hill and Newsweek about Meryl Nass. So some entity did a big publicity, as you saw in the Daily Mail. So anyway, I think, as I said, the ordering of the neuropsych exam was required in order to put all my documents in the public domain and to send my name to the practitioner data bank. Had they not done that, this would have been kept quiet, and it would have been, an ongoing, matter for the board and me to resolve. But they decided they wanted to handle it differently. Did they think clearly about the fact that they did not have a grounds that no one had alleged that I had a psychiatric or a mental, cognitive problem? I don't think they thought it through very well. I don't think they had to think it through very well, because 99 times out of 100, the doctor is not going to fight back. Why is that? Well, I can tell you that I have 2 attorneys, and it looks like the costs are going to be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight this thing. And so how many doctors have that kind of money to fight? And I'm sure the board thought, this is an old lady. She will just close up her practice and go away. We can make an example of her and it'll all be good. I was fortunate in that I'm a consultant to Children's Health Defense. And that organization decided to help fund my defense, which is the only thing that, I couldn't walk into this with a potential $500,000. I mean, who knows how much, you don't know how long this is going to go on, and you still could lose in the end. So, it's very expensive, very time consuming, and the board has broad authority. They think they have broad authority to go after people, without grounds. One of the reasons I think they went after me, they got angry at me because I kept asking them for months, what statute allows you to go after misinformation, and can you define misinformation for me? And that made them mad because there is no statute and there's no definition, and they won't give you a definition. So various, agencies, federal and state Department of Homeland Security just put out a thing about misinformation and disinformation. So apparently it's a new mem. None of these agencies are paying any attention to the First Amendment, and they think they can create a new crime out of thin air, and I know they can't. And I'm happy to challenge them, because I think getting back to a country that works on the basis of law and order is very important for me, my kids, and my grandkids.
Before we get to the rest of this video, don't forget, you can support my work with two great gift options. The first option is AllisonWinePromo.com. That's Allison with 1L winepromo.com. You get 50% off some of my favorite Malbecs from the high altitude regions of Argentina, and 50% off shipping. They use no flavoring, no filtering, no dyes, and no excess chemicals. But if you'd rather toast to free speech with a hot cup of coffee, or actually a cold cup of Katura tea, which is tea made out of the coffee fruits, go to twinenginecoffee.com/Allison, twinenginecoffee.com/Allison. These are high altitude, shade grown, USDA certified roasts from Nicaragua. The owner and founder of the company even lives there, right where they grow, roast, and harvest. So check out both of my sponsors, AllisonWinePromo.com and twinenginecoffee.com/Allison. And wherever you are, toast to free speech. What do you think is at stake if misinformation stands as a reason that a doctor could have her license revoked?
Yeah, well, first of all, if you don't define misinformation, that means speech that somebody doesn't like, someone in authority doesn't like, is a crime. That's pretty serious. That takes us back to the Gulag, to Nazi Germany, Soviets, and we can't have that in the United States. The other thing is that we have emergency regulations that the U.S. is operating under now, and they have basically ignored the rule of law. As I said, First Amendment says I can say anything I want. And as a physician, as long as what I say is not going to harm someone, I'm not calling fire in a theater, I can say it. All the things that the board mentioned that I allegedly said that were misinformation, I have documented in my blog all the reasons for that, with many links, many references.
If you could talk to journalists who would face future press releases or connections with government officials who are telling stories about people like yourself, what would you like those journalists to hear from you?
I guess I would like those journalists and everybody else to get a course in propaganda. I have kept a blog since 2007, 15 years. It's a Google blog, and I have a WordPress site as well. That's the same thing. And in 15 years, I never had a single post censored until about 10 days ago. And Google took down a post on Blogspot. And guess what it was about? It was about propaganda. It was about the fact that Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, and Peter Daszak had used this almost identical language in things they had said about two different subjects. Okay, Joni and Neil Young were talking about their catalogs and Joe Rogan and why they wanted to stand with the good people. And Peter Daszak had written this in the Lancet 2 years earlier about how we should get rid of the thoughts of a lab leak or a lab origin for COVID. But they use the same language, the same images, and the same words. And so what I did in that article was point out that the authors of these articles were trying to ally themselves with the good guys, they use the terms global, they used other terminology to make it seem we're the good guys and the people against us are the bad guys. And it was designed to create images in your mind. And I simply pointed out what they were doing, what these articles and what these statements were doing. And I wanted my audience to recognize this was clear propaganda. It was probably all written by the same PR company, even though they're about different topics. And interestingly enough, that's the post Google pulled down. What do you think about that?
Do you see more doctors standing up now that public opinion is shifting?
No, I see fewer because the system is trying to make examples of people like me, put me in the national spotlight, and scare the pants off all the other doctors. Look, the worst thing you can do to a doctor is to take away their license. Think of all the years that they spent training, the debt they may have gotten into, the fact that they have achieved a position of very high respect in society and they're remunerated well, and now you just take it all away. It's so doctors will do anything to not be put in the position that I was put into.